So that was my video, my last video, talking about that experience. I've been having these recurring dreams that feel more like experiences this last week. A woman keeps shouting out to me, "Be here, be here, be here." Um, and there's a mass disaster going on. I'm heading into a shelter in the dream, and there's a mass disaster. It's somewhere in the Middle East or something. I don't know. And just a really awful, awful thing. I don't know. So I've got, this is just a wristwatch, okay? And people ask, well, what is this? Some kind of heart monitor? What? You'd probably never guess in a million years what this thing is. Hold on a minute. I've been following on the work of Nikola Tesla's research in quantum theory, quantum fields. This is, what that is a watch that's been converted into a crystal radio, but you don't listen to the music from it. It's not a radio that listens to music. It is a loop circuit using germanium diodes, toroidal transformers. And what this does is it draws in radio fields. The theory being that if you have a loop circuit, the field, ambient field, the energy being drawn in to the circuit from frequencies out there, if it doesn't have an output and it doesn't have any kind of if it doesn't have an output like a speaker or a tuner, the theory being that this thing could just carry on receiving, it's modulating into infinity. It's a basic radio circuit which is modulating in a loop circuit forever. So I'm standing on the shoulders of geniuses, and I'm building on his, continuing that work. And why build something like that? It's the theory. I'm going to say it. I'm going to try to give any background to this, how I led to this conclusion. It's reducing the density of my mass through electron field fluctuation with quantum field inversion from higher dimensions, plasma from higher dimensions, which is then causing, it's like it's causing me to, I feel a cool sensation wearing this thing all the time. It aids in either psychic things or interdimensional contact, enhancing one's own electrical field of one's body, keeping you connected into higher dimensions. The theory being, very simply, as Professor Ronald Mallett of the University of Connecticut, who believes he's come up with a very workable theory in time travel, a mathematical theory. He wants to use 10,000 lasers to create a rotating vortex of lasers all shooting in a circle. What that will do is cause a drag on space-time. He simply put it like this: light controls time. Light controls space-time. Radio fields being received by these kinds of circuits, radio is light. For those of you who don't know, radio is in the light spectrum. Light, as we understand it, and all variants of it, whether you see it or radio, travels at a set speed. It's a constant. Roughly, this is roughly, I'm not being precise, 186,000 miles a second throughout the known universe. So mathematical equations call that C on the chalkboard, representing light. And integral calculus it's a math that tries to predict gravity fields, magnetic fields, water, the movement of water, things like this. It's an engineer's mathematics, integral calculus. Now, to be a theoretical physicist or to build things like this, you don't necessarily have to know integral calculus. It does help to have some breadth of some understanding of that mathematics. It's not about adding, we're not talking about equations that do add and addition, subtraction, multiplication, algebra. We aren't talking about those kinds of equations. In theoretical physics, we're talking about equations of matter, energy, light, and particles and wave function. And a whole lot of these equations are based on wave function predictability. And so what's happening theoretically, if you can draw in particles, putting it simply, from a higher dimension, if higher dimensions exist, and they do, particles of light that govern that reality are moving faster than our speed of light. So we're going to call those particles the X particles. Now, the Large Hadron Collider is smashing matter of our dimension and blowing it apart to understand how our reality works. If anything comes out of that they've never seen before, they will attribute this to higher dimensions. It's only a physical machine that's 26 miles across to try to understand, to get hard evidence of these vast theories and string theory and things like that. So it's all theoretical. I don't know. I don't have a Large Hadron Collider, do you? So we don't use that. We go by Nikola Tesla used basic fundamental electronics at the time, chemistry, molecular science on germanium crystals, and how they created the world's first radio circuits. And the theory being that in higher dimensions, light moves faster than 186,000 miles a second. Well, that being the case, then if you can build a circuit of any kind, some kind of a radio circuit that can draw in and harness and focus any length of time, even for a fraction of a nanosecond, of those faster than light particles into these circuits from a higher dimension, because they're modulating into infinity, theoretically, you're causing a massive drag on space-time in this reality. You're imitating Professor Ron Mallett's experiment using 10,000 lasers. The drag on space-time. It's called perception shifting. You're shifting your matter, your mass, which will then shift the focal point of the gravity and electromagnetic field that confines you to this space-time continuum. And if you alter light in any way at all, you're going to alter your own how you are in this reality. You can shift yourself into another time. It forms the basis of time travel theory and mathematics like that. Wormholes and interdimensional contact. So I'm not claiming to be some vast psychic. I have a potential, yes, but I went off to work on chalkboards and look into Tesla's research that was declassified some years ago, and began building my own variations of his work. And there it is. There's one of them built inside of a wristwatch that I wear all the time. The benefit of that is that it's like an Aladdin's lamp. I mean, it's really weird. There's a lot of things that can happen. It may even help you with work. It's a weird thing. Health-wise, you feel lighter, less. You're decreasing the density of your mass. Therefore, reduction of your drag through space-time and gravity. And so theoretically, even in a fraction of a tiny millionth of a piece of this, if that's even true, then you sense something different when you're running down the street cutting grass. You suddenly feel like you could do this forever. You know, I don't know. This is just scratching the surface. There's a thousand things with this, aside from enhancing communication with extraterrestrials and other dimensions and things like that. It's all about manipulation of light. That's the key. Control light, you control time. the great professor is correct. Look him up. Professor Ronald Mallet, M-A-L-L-E-T, double T, is a genius. Nikola Tesla's work, Professor Mallet's mathematics, is attributed in this video. They're both great inspirations to me, fantastic geniuses. I've worked on these projects for years in secret. I'm only now for the first time really. I tried talking about it about 5 or 6 years ago, and I just got laughed at. I thought this is probably not the time to talk about it. I don't think any time is the appropriate time. I've got loads and loads of these projects sitting around here. I've got another one here, built inside of an old plastic Easter egg. The same principle, only it incorporates an array of germanium diodes arranged in a power conversion so that they're like germanium diodes in a series with resistors. How you build an ion ray gun. It's like it's an amplification circuit, so it aligns these germanium diodes in such a way that the output is amplified hundreds of thousands of times. So what does it do when you turn it on? Well, nothing spectacular happens, and it's not supposed to. You're not supposed to see something fly around. That's a subject for other videos. I'll go down. I've got a lot to do on this channel, a lot to clean up, a lot of stuff to move, delete, and then put these videos in proper category. Yeah, there it is.